Hey everybody, Spoonfed here with the third video on a new series about SEO and starting your own project. So you've done keyword research, you've registered your domain name. Now you need to take care of hosting. You need to have a little bit of space on the web in order to upload your files to and offer your services. Now, there are basically three uh, options for hosting. You have one option that is shared hosting. It's most common. You have a virtual private server hosting, and you have a dedicated server. Now, let me quickly explain the difference between the three. Shared hosting means one IP address on the web hosts many different domain names, and that server has basically a hard disk, and on that hard disk are the spaces divided into your that's where your files are going, but they all have the same layout and same thing, and there's only one computer with one hard disk really, so there's only one let's say in terms of Linux there's only one main file system, and you can have multiple hard drives, that's true, but there's only one system running at a time. In the case of a virtual private hosting, for example, virtual private server, then you have your own little space on one computer. It's still one computer, but each one that logs in has its own little compartment of that space. So you have each has their own file system. So you have a slash and slash root and so on slash dev if you have Linux, and if you have Windows you have the standard C drive and whatnot spaces on there. So that's the difference between virtual private and shared. So in shared there's one system, many domain names, one IP, but you don't have control over that server, or not fully control over your own server. You can install stuff and you can upload and you can modify file locations a bit, but there's not really, you cannot, for example, install new services, or you cannot update your server yourself. Now in the case of virtual private server you can, because each is running their own services, which is why it's called a virtual private. It's still one machine, but you have a little bit of control over it. And a dedicated server is the full tower is yours. You have complete control over the whole thing, and that one IP address is yours. But basically, you get a whole range of IP addresses usually for dedicated servers. So you get, I don't know, one server that hosts anything from 82.80.139.1 till 39.255. So all those IP addresses are yours, and you can allocate those IP addresses to domain names. That's all in your power. And I've took 3 random names that are good, at least in my mind are good, and range them from cheap to most expensive. And yeah, so let's just take a look. So you have 3ix or 39 if you want to call it .org. It's called the $1 web hosting, and it's true, per month it costs $1, but you don't get much for that. You get a 40 gigs of web space, which you might think is pretty alright, 40 gigs, but if you think about if you want to upload movies or clips that you made yourself, if I record this, usually the output, depending on how long the video is anywhere between like 100 MB to 1 gig. So that then 40 gigs is not that much. That's why I don't upload it to my site, but upload it to YouTube. But that's another thing. Also, the monthly bandwidth means each time a person visits your server or your site, I mean, it downloads the content of that page. That's considered your bandwidth, the thing that they pull off of the server, that the server has to feed the customer every time. If you have a site with loads of pages, and let's say the total like space of the site that each time has to load is, I don't know, 200 KB. Then you think, oh, 100 gigs is easily attainable. I mean, it's only 200 KB per time. That's true, but if 10 visitors come, that's 2 MB. Then if we want to go to 2 gigs, that's 1,000, so that's 2,000 visitors. And then we can do that by 50, that's 10, well, that's 100,000. And we are already over, or we are on the limit. And in case you want to have a lot of people going to your site every month, 100,000 is peanuts. So in the beginning you can do that, but I would recommend doing a higher option. Park domains means how many domains you can have like parked there on the server, meaning you don't actually do anything with the domain, but you just want to have it. That's something there. Number of separate websites. Well, you can host one website, so you can have one website hosted and you can have one parked, basically. Now you have 20 subdomains and you have a bunch of other stuff here. Unlimited FTP accounts, not really important. This is really important, MySQL databases. Email accounts, what I talked about. You can have 50 email accounts with POP3, IMAP, and SMTP. Well, SMTP is, well, standard, but IMAP means it will stay stored on the server, but that also counts towards your web space. So you should really think about how big you want to have this and regularly dump your emails, I guess, if you get big amounts of email. Now you can have mailing lists, which basically you can send out emails to loads of people who sign up for the mailing list. It's pretty cool. What kind of server you have? Well, you have Red Hat Linux with Apache running, which is awesome, which just works. And then here are some extra stuff that you can read about, that you can do, like cron jobs, and these are all extra. I mean, this is a shared secure server, meaning it's what I said, shared hosting, but it's secure. You cannot just go into another guy's site or anything. That's not possible. Now, the thing is, you get some like applications with it. You get like ClickBee, which is online website builder I've never used, but Fantastico is an auto installer with free scripts, and you get free scripts from Joomla, Drupal, WordPress, so you don't have to install those by hand. You can just let it do it for you. And then if you're not experienced at all, the more you can just have everything run automatic, the better. You have a spam assassin filter on there, which works like a charm. It really does. It's really good at keeping spam at bay using a good filter. I mean, sometimes stuff gets through, sure, but most of the time it works. It's a pretty good filter. So I would suggest, if you start out, you take the extra option, because you get unlimited bandwidth, so you don't need to worry about that. You can have 2 add-on domains, meaning you can register 2 extra sites and then host those, which basically that's the 2 here. You can see here the 1, 3, 5, and that's how it increases here as well. So that's how it works. You can have 2 park domains, meaning you register them, then you park them there, and you get you can maybe you can even like customize the park page, but I'm not sure. And you get 50 subdomains, which is in case of 3ix.org, like domain.3ix.org, shop.3ix.org, and so on and so on and so on. So in case of the insects one, you can have beetles. Your domain name, insects. Your domain name, flies. Your domain name, and so on and so on and so on, to get more and more and more keywords in there, instead of just having them behind here all, because everyone is starting with www. blah blah blah. And in case of a dedicated server, any subdomain you can host on a different IP, making it sort of a separate site if you wish to call it that. So you can do loads of options with this. It's pretty cool. MySQL database is 10 is probably enough, but every time you want to install a new domain or any subdomain, you want to have a new WordPress install, it requires a new database. So that's basically it. So you can have 50 subdomains, but not all the subdomains can have a MySQL database, or some have to like share maybe. You can have 100 email accounts, which is basically just stupid. 50 is already too much. 100 is way too many. 10 mailing lists is pretty cool, and then the same options apply. You get ClickBee extra in here, but basically these are all the same, except in expert you get shell access, meaning you can shell access the server and do some stuff with that. So you can like run scripts, I think, and maybe install some extra stuff. But shell access is it recommended for beginning? No, not at all. If you know what you're doing, you need shell access, then by all means do. And this one is not at all expensive. I think it's 24 months. It's 2 years, $100. And you have 2 years worth of hosting. It's shared, but still. Now we'll go to virtual private hosting, which I did at domain.com. So here you have to select what type you want. That's all you need to do. You only need to select what type you want. Now you can read about it more here, and you can read about the add-ons that they have. So let me just put it on. cPanel has a certain look. Plesk has a certain look. That's basically the difference. Some like cPanel, some swear by Plesk. Personally, I prefer cPanel over Plesk, but that's just opinion and matter of own taste. So it's what you want. You can maybe they have it like a screenshot over there. Now this is Linux hosting and this is Windows Server hosting. Choose carefully what you want. The other one only has Linux hosting. This one gives you an option of a Windows server and a Linux server. In case you're not familiar or do not want to learn Linux or the structure or how it works or where things are located, go with a Windows server. And there are probably Windows shared servers out there as well, but don't just assume that every server is a Linux server or that every server is a Windows server. The basic, what I said, difference between them is the way their files are structured and how they work, which services are running on there. So I'm not gonna do a video on that right now. I might do in the future when I get to that point of doing your own server, making your own server. I'll do a Windows and Linux server. For now, all you need to know is basically, do you want this environment or Windows environment, but then in a server, meaning it can host files, it can do DNS, it can do all those kinds that you want a domain name on the internet to do, or do you want to have Linux and try out something new? Personally, I like Linux for servers because they, in my mind or my opinion, are more stable. They usually do not require a reboot for a upgrade. If it crashes, then, which rarely happens, there is usually a good error log and fix that's quickly fixed. If in Windows, I don't have very much experience with Windows server wise, but I have it as a desktop for a long time, and let's be honest, it crashes way more than Linux. So yeah, that's my opinion. It's not something you should like go by as for your own. If you just think, oh, I like the look and feel of Windows and I feel comfortable with that, take it. So that's the package that they have. Let's just take a look. Here you can see you get, you can host 100 domains if you want for only 4 months. $4 per month extra. You can have a unlimited domains for $8 per month. You can have an antivirus on there, and you can just do the complete super duper pack, and you get loads of stuff with support and everything. And I would just get that if you are going for this one. Now you have the Windows Plesk, same, but then for Windows. These are the services that they give you when you want them. So they start out at 35 and they go up to about 80. The stuff is how much disk space you have for the servers, the amount of RAM, which is basically how fast it can process things, how much bandwidth you can. Now you see a difference between this and shared hosting. That shared gives easily unlimited out, but that's because it's only one machine doing like different domain names, that's for sure, but it has the same file system. This has to create new file systems over and over and over, so that's a bit the problem. You get CentOS on there, which is Linux. It's a good, I think it's the free version for Red Hat Linux, I think, for Red Hat server environment, but I'm not sure. I have heard of it, and it's almost always used in server environments. You get these programming languages that you can execute. You get this control panel. You have all of this. Yes, it's also all the same except for dedicated IPs, meaning you get 2 IPs on this one. So you can have like 2 sites hosted on 2 different IPs if you want it. Now, and there's no setup fee, so that's great. And you can select this. So the only difference is the dedicated IPs and the bandwidth and the amount of disk space and memory. As you can see, these are quite more expensive, but definitely worth it if you're serious and you have the amount of money to put into this. Now we'll take a look at this is the same probably for the Windows Plesk, by the way. I haven't looked at that. Let's just take a quick look. I think they're the same configurations, only than Windows. They have a Windows 2003 server, and you have different language. The other one had Perl, PHP, and Python, and this also has ASP.NET on there because it's Windows. The rest is all the same, except it's a Windows server, and you have ASP.NET extra. That's it. So I'm just going to close this one, and this is for cPanel, which in this case you will get cPanel on there. There are no pictures of this, so have a look before to see what you want actually, but the cool thing is you get unlimited domains here, which is pretty awesome. Might be an error, but I don't think so. And the others, you had a limit on this. It was 10 or something. And this also, you get unlimited MySQL databases. So I would opt for the cPanel and this no, not per se this package, but I mean the cPanel package in general. And then, well, in the beginning you might only have one IP, so take this one. It'll be fine. So yeah, and the last thing that I want to show you is dedicated servers. I'm just going to close these, and I just took HostGator, another well-known name in servers or hosting like field. You have options that range from the incredible insane to the even more insane. You get, for example, for the cheapest amount, this is Linux, again, this is Linux. You can see what the server has. So you get 500 gigs, you get 10 terabyte of bandwidth, 5 IPs, 2 gigs of memory, and a pretty good processor, quad core, but the processor is not that important, I must say. The most important ones are memory, bandwidth, IP, and then you can also check for like MySQL database and stuff like that. I'm just gonna do compare all because I want to see what extras they all have. Now this is the monthly price, and here you can see where it is located. Also very important. If you're hosting a site and it has illegal information for the place that you're hosting it from, you're in big trouble. Like, for instance, gambling could be illegal in the States, but if you're hosting it, well, in Texas it's not illegal, but if you're hosting it in, let's say, from Kentucky or something, it's illegal there, you have a problem. It's basically that simple. You have to adhere to the rules of the location of the hosting, not the audience that you're intending it to, not the domain name. If you have like a .ca domain name for Canada, but your hosting is in France, you have to obey by the rules of France in terms of what you're hosting. It's a bit weird, but that's definitely something you need to be aware of. Now, let's see. What do we have here? Oh, here you can see like the difference in memory. You get the same amount of disk space for the first two, and you get same bandwidth, same IP. So the difference is in memory and hard drive for this one. You get this, all of this, you get all the same. So you can have unlimited stuff on there. You pre-installed with loads of goodies. Like, really, this is freaking awesome. I mean, you get Ruby on Rails on there. You get let's see, a front page if you're used to that. You get the ability to stream video, music. Your dedicated server will have, emails on there with Spam Assassin. Again, something the virtual private server did not have, I think, or at least did not advertise it. Then you get all of this on your control panel, which basically is the install scripts for things, custom error pages. You can do forums on there, counters, redirect URLs, and it comes installed with it. So you just have a page, your control panel does all this. You don't need to be a guru at Linux server to do all this. And you get some statistics for seeing what happens to your site and whatnot. And your e-commerce features, if you want to sell stuff, is you get SSL support, which is the secure socket layer for HTTPS for encryption of data, and you get three packages that have that shopping cart all in one roll, all rolled into one, or interchange even, so you get 4. So that's for Linux. Now they also have Windows ones. Probably have the same setup in terms of towers. Like, see, they have the same processor, memory, and all stuff. And you get Plesk on this one. And do you get cPanel on this one, or did you also get Plesk? I forgot to look. No, you get cPanel on this one, and you get Plesk on Windows. And that's probably the only difference in terms of aside from Windows and Linux. You can compare them all. They should be have the same options. Only you get a Windows server probably. Doesn't say. Oh no, you get less packages here. So you get less e-commerce packages. You get application packs. So Fantasco, that's probably the one that replaces Fantasco. No Spam Assassin. You have spam filtering, yeah, but you don't know how good that one is. For you get an ASP, you get extra, but you lose the ability to type in Ruby. And that's basically it, I think. Oh, you get remote desktop. That's pretty cool. I don't think that was in the other one. But I could be wrong, of course. So those are your options for hosting. Quick recap is shared hosting is the most common, and that is one IP address hosting loads of domains. And you have virtual private server, which is one tower with multiple IPs and multiple domain names. And but you don't control the whole tower. You control a section of the tower. And you have dedicated servers. And dedicated servers, you control the whole tower. Everything is yours. And if you crash it, then it's of course your own fault. Um, so think about what you want, what you need. Some people say immediately, yes, we need a dedicated server. We definitely need to control everything. Well, if you have an e-commerce site, virtual private servers are easily as good, and they're a bit less expensive. If you can afford the investment, of course, then go with a dedicated server. It will only serve you the better in the future. I will be doing a video in the future when I switch from shared hosting to a virtual private server, when I can afford it, of course. Um, if if you have a domain name registered because of the video and this project, and please let me know what your thoughts are on the server. Maybe I left something out. I'll do a video on that. Give me feedback on anything that you wish to give feedback on. You can do that on YouTube. Follow that. You can Twitter me. You can go look me up on Facebook. And yeah, so have a good time deciding on which server you want and which hosting, and then next video I will just talk you through the hosting a bit, like first time you log in, what you can do, and how to set up your site basically. I'll see you next time.